Hi, my name is John. I'm with Bicycles Outback in Waco, Texas. And today I'm going to show you how to change a flat tire. The things you're going to need to do this, obviously, some tire levers, a tube, and a way to inflate the tire once you change the tube out. One of the most important things you're going to need to know when you pick up a tube at your local bike shop is what size it is. You're going to find that information on the side of your tire. Usually it's going to be written on the label. If it's not there, it's going to be somewhere else on the side of the tire. If you don't know or you're not comfortable with that information, just write down all the numbers that you see on the side of the tire and bring that to your local bike shop, and they'll help you out and get you the right style. Another thing you're going to need to know when you're picking out a tube is what style of valve it has. Again, your local bike shop mechanic or salesperson can help you with that, but really these days there's only two. There's the Schrader valve, which is commonly seen on automobiles, and then there's the Presto valve, which you see a lot in higher end road and mountain bikes. So once you've got that figured out, bring it in to the bike shop, have them match the one you've got, or just tell them what you have, what you need, and they'll get you set up. There are a couple different types of inflation devices. You can, of course, have a pump, like a floor pump, or a pump that you can carry with you. But what a lot of people are using these days when they're out on a ride is a CO2 cartridge. This will get you back on the road a lot faster, and if you've been riding for a while, you're hot, you're sweaty, the last thing you want to do is sit there for 10 minutes pumping up a tire. So I definitely recommend looking into and getting yourself a CO2 cartridge set up. Those are recyclable, so it's not like you're buying something that's going to be bad for the environment. So the first thing you're going to do, obviously you've got a flat, so there's no air in your tire. I'm going to let that out. The one thing you'll need to know is a lot of tires are pretty hard to get off the rim. There are some that are going to be easier, and that's really a combination of the rim and the tire. So that's why you really need to have at least one tire lever with you at all times. Some people are able to get the tire off with just their hands. And you want to go and just kind of release the bead from the edge of the rim. Just kind of push on it all the way around until it's definitely loose. Now, if you can get it off, if it's relatively loose, all you do is kind of push that bead over the edge of the rim and work it around, and it comes off. If it's not coming off very easily, we'll put this back on just so that I can demonstrate that. You'll have to use a tire lever. The tire lever is just kind of like a miniature pry bar. You want to make sure that you actually have a plastic tire lever and not a metal one. Don't use a spoon or anything crazy like that. Kitchen utensils are generally not a good idea. You'll damage the tire and the rim as well, and then you're in a whole different boat. So if you're going to use a tire lever, you can see tire levers have a little lip on them, it curves up. You're going to put that in. Make sure not to pinch the tube on the inside, even though it's flat. Go ahead and just push that away from you and follow it all the way around. And you see how easily that comes off. Generally speaking, once you've done that, you should be able to pull the other side off. But if need be, you can put that in the tire lever again and rotate it, and it come off. Next thing you want to do is pull the tube out of the tire. Sometimes they'll get stuck if they've been in there for a while, so just kind of pull it out first thing you're going to want to do is see if whatever caused the puncture is still in the tire. If it's a piece of glass or wire, very easily can come out immediately when you run over it, but it can also embed itself inside the tire casing, and if you don't check for it and remove it if it is still there, it's just going to puncture the next tube you put in. So just kind of gently run your fingers on the inside of the tire, going all the way around. I'd probably do this twice because sometimes you'll miss it the first time. Once you're sure that it's cleared, there's nothing sharp left in the tire, then you'll want to go ahead and get your new tube out. What I like to do is put a little bit of air in it just so that it holds its shape. And that'll let it take up some space so it won't get caught when you're using the tire lever, if you have to put the tire back on. So just that is enough. If it's a press valve, close the little end of the valve there so it doesn't leak air out. And there are a couple ways of doing this, but almost always bike shop mechanics are going to put the valve stem where the label on the tire is. The reason we do that is if you get another flat and you can't identify the location of the source of the puncture, then you can kind of line this up. You can inflate the tube, see where it's leaking air, and you know that if it's leaking air here on the tube, you're either going to look about here or here on the tire. So check those places and then get that set up. Tires usually have the label on the drive side. If they're on both sides, sometimes you want to look for something on the side of the tire that tells you which direction it goes in. But like I said, usually if it's just a label on one side, that's going to be on the drive side. When you put it back in the wheel, one of the things you'll want to do is make sure the skewer's on the correct side. If you've got a computer, kind of take note of where the magnet is. Make sure that that's aligned with the pickup for the magnet. People will put the skewer on different sides, but generally speaking, the skewer, the quick release for the skewer, is going to be on the non-drive side. Just kind of feed one bead of the tire back onto the rim. And then, again, because the tube has a little bit of shape to it, because it's inflated, it'll be easier to kind of get it into position and tucked away inside the rim itself. And then gently kind of feed it around, making sure not to pinch the tube in between the rim and the tire as you do so. If you find it getting caught in between, just kind of push the tube up into the space between the rim and the tire, and then just feed the bead on. Do that the whole way around. And most of the time, you're going to get to a point where it's going to be very difficult to actually get the last piece of the tire bead onto the rim. So you may have to use that tire lever again. If the tire works well with the rim, you'll be able to just use your thumbs and push it on. If not, take it off for you. What you're going to do is this time use the tire lever so that you're prying it onto the rim. So you're flipping that piece upside down and you're just getting the hook over the edge of the rim and then pushing it up and over. Now that the tire's back on the wheel, just kind of check, make sure that the bead is seated inside the rim all the way around on both sides. And then whichever form of inflation device you're going to use, go ahead and grab that. In this case, we're going to use a floor pump because it's got a gauge and you can accurately measure how much air you're putting into the tire. Most pumps these days have holes for both styles of valve. Some of them, like this one, will just have one hole that will work with both styles of valve. So you just have to push that on, make sure it's in there. And you can either use the little nut that comes with the tube to hold that valve in place, or if you use a little bit of pressure on the back side of it, that'll hold it down, keep the valve pressed out of the wheel enough that you can get the end of the pump onto the valve itself. Close that down and then start inflating it. Now you don't want to inflate this all the way. You want to maybe put 20-30 pounds in here, the crusher, and that's for a road bike. If it's a mountain bike, probably 10-15 pounds of pressure will do. Take that off, and again, look around the edge of the wheel. Make sure that the bead of the tire is still seated on the wheel. Sometimes, if it's not seated right, it'll cause that to pop off. If you put too much air in there too fast, it's just going to blow the tire and the tube right out the side. So then you're back to square one. Obviously, that's not where you want to be if you're out on the road. Hey Larry, this is our shop kit.